Hi there, this is Regina. In this video, I want to talk about permutations and combinations. So first, some definitions. A permutation is a mathematical way of figuring out the number of ways of arranging or selecting a group of events, where an event could be a number, object, or anything else. Here, it is important to maintain the order. For example, if you're arranging letters to make a word, the order becomes very important. For combination, it is the number of ways of selecting an event, object, or number where order is not that important. So let's get started with permutation. The general formula for permutation is N, P, R. Both N and R are written as subscripts, where N represents the total number. This is the total. And R represents the objects that we are selecting. And the formula is N factorial divided by the difference between N and R factorial. A word of caution, N factorial over 0 factorial is not undefined, but it is N factorial. Okay, let's go ahead and look at an example. How many ways can we select 5 students out of 15 to help me make my videos? Here the order is important because I cannot select one student twice. That's why I will use the permutation. The N, the total number of students, is 15, and I'm only selecting 5, and I'm trying to figure out how many ways I can select 5 out of 15. So it is NPR, and the formula is N factorial over N minus R factorial. And here's the long, tedious way of doing it. I began to write 15 factorial, and I stopped at 10 factorial because I knew that 10 factorial at the bottom will basically cancel out the 10 factorial at the top. The answer is 360360. But there is a better way of doing this, which is using your calculator. If you typed in N, then go to Math, then click on Probability, you will be presented with the following selection. NPR is the permutation, NCR would be the combination, and this is factorial. So it's good to know that you can use the calculator. When there are multiple R's, the formula changes a little bit. For example, if you have how many ways can you select 4 red marbles, 5 yellow marbles, and 2 purple marbles from a bag of 11 marbles? So here you have different types of R here, and the formula is N factorial over R1 factorial, R2 factorial, etc., where R's are each of the repeated events. So in this particular problem here, my total N is 11 because the bag has 11 marbles, divided by 4 factorials for the red, 5 factorials for the yellow, and 2 factorials for the purple. And if you plug it in your calculator, you get 6930. I would not recommend doing this by hand because time is important. So if you don't know how to use your calculator, I recommend you consult your manual and then try and get familiar with how to use the calculator. Here is a real SAT question. The question is, how many distinguishable ways can 7 letters in the word minimum be arranged if all of the letters are used each time? So the total number of spots here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So N is 7. And let's identify R's. There's an M here which occurred 3 times. I occurred twice. And N occurred only once, and U occurred only once. So the number of ways in which I can arrange the letters, and since order is important, I'm going to use the permutation formula, which we're discussing now, is N factorial over 3 factorial times 2 factorial times 1 factorial and 1 factorial. Plugging it in your calculator gives you 420. Here's another example. How many different arrangements of letters in the word radar are possible? Altogether, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 letters, but out of those 5 letters, R is repeated twice, A is repeated. Out of those 5 letters, R is repeated, A is repeated, and D occurs only once. So again, it'll be n factorial over R1 factorial times R2 factorial times R3 factorial, which is essentially 1. I did this by hand, but you don't have to. It's 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 factorial divided by 2 factorial, and my 2 factorials canceled. Here the 2 factorial is simply 2 times 1. I reduced 2 and 4. I was able to do this without the calculator, so I chose to do it without the calculator. The next we want to talk about is combination. And here the order is important. The formula for combination is NCR. Both N and R are again subscripts. N is the total as before, and R is the object or the event. And the formula in this case is n factorial over n minus r factorial times r factorial. An example of a problem would be, how many ways can you select 3 distinct types of juices from 10? So there are n equals 10, and you're selecting 3. It doesn't matter which order you select them. So it'll be n. So you will use the combination formula, which is 10 factorial over 10 minus 3 factorial times 3 factorial. I actually use the calculator to get 120. To use the calculator, you could type in your n value, go to math, and then select your NCR. Once you've selected that, you will type in your R value and then push enter. So the procedure is type the n, go to math and then the probability and make your selection. Type in your R value, push enter, and you should get this number. Here's an application of the combination formula. The question is, a hotel has 5 single rooms available for which 6 men and 3 women apply. What is the probability that the rooms will be rented to 3 men and 2 women? Okay. Let's go ahead and collect all the information we have. We have 6 men and we have 3 women, and total is 9. For probability problems, probability of any event is the number of ways that that event can occur divided by the total ways in which that event can occur. So let's go ahead and see how many ways can an event occur. So the number of ways of selecting 3 men out of 6 is 6C3. The number of ways of selecting women is, you want 2 women and there's a total of 3 women right here. So you're going to choose 2 out of 3. So you can use your calculator and figure this one out. And we can do it right now if you like. If you have a calculator, pick it up and work with me. First one is 20. And the second one, this one is 3. And the total number of ways of selecting the total sample space or the total sample is how many ways I can assign 5 rooms to 9 people. And my calculator gives me 126. So the probability would be 20 times 3 divided by 126, which is 60 divided by 126, which is reduce it by 6, 10, and this is 21. This is 10 and not 16. Now for the binomial expansion. We use the combination formula for binomial expansion as well, so I want to put this in here. Let's say you had to expand x plus y to the power 7. If it's to the power 2, I know you can do it. You probably can do it up to power 3. But what if it's 7? We need to use some other system to do this. And this is how we do this. The first term is determined by the highest exponent, which is 7c0. Then you continue down. You can see that there's a method to this madness. It's 7c2, 7c3, 7c4, 7c5, 7c6, 7c7, and that's the end of the line. So if you expanded this, there will be altogether 8 terms. The first term is always raised to the power, the difference between these two numbers. So this one would be 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. The second term is raised to the power, the r values, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way down to 7. Okay, let's go and apply this to an SAT problem. This is an SAT problem. They're asking for the 7th term of this binomial expansion. You know to start with the 0. The first term would start here. But we're not interested in doing the full 9 yards, just the 7th term. So the 7th term is 8c6, and the first term, which is a cubed, raised to the power the difference of these two numbers, and the second term, negative 1 over a, raised to the power r. So on your calculator, you can figure out 8c6, it's 28. A cubed to the power 2 is a to the power 6. Negative 1 over a to the power 6 is positive 1 over a to the 6. And you can see that the a to the 6 cancels, and your answer is positive 28. So the answer should be C. Okay, this ends my first lecture on combination and permutation, and we will continue with this. I'll see you in my next video. Thank you very much for listening.